Growing up, I always sensed a distinct difference between myself and the rest of my family. My name is Jenny, and I hail from a proud lineage of restaurant owners. My father, Joe, is a boisterous, commanding figure who governs our family's bustling eatery with unwavering authority. My mother, Linda, is his ideal counterpart, perpetually occupied with orchestrating the staff and ensuring the restaurant runs smoothly. Then there's my older brother, Mike, the quintessential golden child, meticulously groomed to inherit the family business. I vividly recall one particular evening seated at the dinner table, the air saturated with the rich, savory scent of Dad's renowned roast. Mom was animatedly discussing a new recipe they were experimenting with at the restaurant. "Jenny, you're going to adore this one. It's infused with that fancy herb you love. What's it called again?" she asked, her eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. I muttered, absently pushing food around my plate. Across the table, Mike let out a hearty laugh, his mouth stuffed with roast. "Who cares about some silly herb? Wait until you see the new grill Dad's getting for the restaurant. Now that's the real deal." Dad nodded in agreement, his piercing gaze fixed on me. "Speaking of the restaurant, Jenny, when are you going to start showing some interest? You're not getting any younger, you know." I shrank into my chair, wishing I could disappear. "I don't know, Dad. I like being outside with the plants and stuff," I mumbled, my voice barely audible. Mom and Dad exchanged a skeptical glance. "Plants," Mom echoed, her tone laced with disbelief. "What are you going to do with plants, Jenny? You need a real job, something solid to fall back on." A familiar knot tightened in my stomach. It was the same exhausting conversation we had time and again. No one in my family understood me, no one, that is, except Grandma Rose. Grandma Rose lived in a quaint, cozy house on the outskirts of town, enveloped by the most breathtaking garden I had ever seen. Unlike my parents, she was gentle, patient, and seemed to see the world through the same lens as I did. Whenever the relentless talk of the restaurant became overwhelming, I would escape to her haven. One sunny afternoon, I found her kneeling in her garden, her hands buried in the rich, loamy soil. "Jenny, dear, come help me plant these tulips," she called, her face glowing with a warm, inviting smile. I settled beside her, relishing the cool, earthy sensation of the dirt against my skin. "Grandma," I ventured, my voice tinged with frustration, "why don't Mom and Dad understand? I love this. I love being here with the plants." Grandma Rose paused, wiping her brow with the back of her hand, and fixed me with her wise, weathered eyes. "Your parents only want what they think is best for you, Jenny. But they don't see the world the way we do. There's magic in these plants, in the earth itself. It's perfectly fine to be different." Her words became my anchor, a lifeline I clung to as the pressure from my family intensified. Mike, in particular, took every opportunity to tease me, sneeringly calling me the gardener, as if it were a shameful label. "Hey, gardener, you gonna plant some lettuce for tonight's salad?" he'd taunt, his friends snickering in the background. I'd roll my eyes and walk away, refusing to let their ignorance dim my passion. They couldn't see the exquisite beauty in a single delicate leaf or the serene peace of a dew-kissed morning. But I could, and in those quiet moments with my hands in the soil, I felt truly at home. High school graduation loomed like a crossroads, and I, Jenny, was poised to take the path less traveled by my family. Our house buzzed with excitement over Mike's plans to join Dad at the restaurant, while I felt like a mere spectator in my own life. One evening, we were all gathered in the living room, the atmosphere charged with Dad's ambitious dreams. He was expounding on plans to expand a restaurant, his eyes alight with fervor. "Mike, you're going to be at the heart of this," he declared, clapping my brother on the back. Mike swelled with pride, grinning like a proud rooster. "Yeah, I've got big ideas already, Dad. We're going to make this place legendary." I sat quietly, fidgeting with a loose thread on the couch, feeling invisible amidst their grand plans. Then Mom turned to me, her voice sharp, as if jolting me awake from a daydream. "And what about you, Jenny? Are you ready to step up? You could start at the front desk, learn the ropes." I took a deep, steadying breath, my heart pounding. It was now or never. Actually, I said, my voice soft but resolute, I'm not going to work at the restaurant. I'm going to study landscape design. The room fell into a stunned silence. Dad's face flushed a deep crimson, like a tomato on the verge of bursting. Landscape what now? He barked, his voice thunderous. That's no career for you. You're part of this family, and the restaurant is our legacy. Disdain. I froze, my heart racing. Grandma Rose had left me her house? The one with the enchanting garden that had been my sanctuary? It felt like a final, loving gift from her, a testament to her belief in me. Mike snickered, his voice laced with mockery. What are you going to do? Plant flowers for a living? His words stung like a slap, and I felt my cheeks flush with heat. Yes, actually, I shot back, my voice trembling but resolute. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm good at it and I love it. Mom's face twisted into a mixture of confusion and concern, her brows knitting together. Jenny, be sensible, she urged, her tone heavy with worry. You can't make a living off playing in the dirt. I rose from my seat, a surge of defiance coursing through me like a wildfire. It's not just playing in the dirt, Mom, I said, my voice steady despite the lump in my throat. It's creating something beautiful, something real. I'm not asking for your approval, but I am telling you, this is my decision. Dad slammed his meaty hand on the table, the sound reverberating through the room like a thunderclap. His voice boomed, shaking the air. If you choose this foolishness, you're on your own. Don't expect any help from us. A knot tightened in my stomach, but I held my ground, my resolve unshaken. Fine, I said, my voice clear and firm. I'll do it on my own. From the corner of the room, Grandma Rose, who had been quietly knitting, her needles clicking softly, finally spoke. Her voice was calm, yet carried an undeniable weight, like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. Joe, let the girl follow her heart, she said, her wise eyes fixed on Dad. She's got a gift, and it would be a sin to waste it. Dad let out a frustrated grunt, his face contorted with exasperation as he turned away. Fine, do what you want, he muttered, his voice dripping with resentment. But don't come crying to us when it all falls apart. I turned to leave, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Mike's voice trailed after me, sharp and sarcastic. Good luck, gardener, he jeered. Let's see how far those flowers get you. Stepping into college life felt like plunging into deep, uncharted waters, thrilling yet daunting. I, Jenny, was far from the familiar, well-trodden paths of my family's expectations, ready to carve my own way in the vibrant world of landscape design. I still remember the electric buzz of the first day in class, the room swirling with the eager energy of students buzzing with ambition. I found a spot in the back, hoping to blend into the shadows, my nerves tingling with anticipation. That's when Zoe, a girl with fire engine red hair and eyes sparkling with mischief, plopped into the seat next to me with a grin. Hey there, newbie. I'm Zoe. First-timer in landscape design? She asked, her voice brimming with infectious enthusiasm. I nodded shyly, clutching my notebook. Yeah, I'm Jenny. It's all a bit overwhelming. Zoe's laugh was loud and genuine, like a burst of sunlight. You'll fit right in. Wait till you get your hands into the real dirt. It's epic. What dragged you into this world? I hesitated, the sting of my family's disapproval still fresh in my mind. I've always loved plants, the outdoors, I said softly. It's where I feel right, you know? Her grin widened, revealing a warmth that put me at ease. Perfect place for you, then. Classes were a whirlwind of discovery and creativity, each lecture a new adventure. I soaked up knowledge like a sponge, from the intricate science of soils to the delicate art of design. For the first time, I was speaking a language that resonated deep within me, one that felt like home. After one particularly intense session, Mr. Davidson, our professor, a towering man as sturdy and grounded as an ancient oak, called me over. Jenny, your designs, there's something special about them, he said, his voice serious, but laced with encouragement. You've got a real knack for this. I was stunned, my heart swelling with pride. Really? Thank you, Mr. Davidson. I'm just trying to do my best. He leaned forward, his piercing eyes locking onto mine. There's potential in you, Jenny. Don't let it go to waste. Push harder. His words became my mantra, a guiding light through long nights in the studio. My designs grew bolder, more expressive, each one a reflection of my passion. The work was exhausting but exhilarating, like tending a garden that was slowly blooming into something extraordinary. Yet, even in those moments of joy, a quiet ache lingered in my heart, a longing for my family's acceptance, despite their rejection. One quiet evening, I gathered the courage to call home, my fingers trembling as I dialed. The phone rang, each tone heavy with anticipation, until Mom's voice cut through, sharp as a knife's edge. "What do you want, Jenny?" she asked, her tone cold and biting. Her words stung, but I pressed on, my voice soft but steady. "I just wanted to check in, see how everyone's doing." She snorted, her voice dripping with scorn. "Oh, now you care? After running off to play in the dirt, abandoning your own family?" I clenched my teeth, fighting to keep my composure. "I didn't abandon anyone, Mom. I just chose a different path." Her laugh was bitter, like the taste of unripe fruit. "A dead-end path, you mean? Don't expect us to be here waiting when it all crumbles around you." The call ended abruptly, leaving a sour taste in my mouth. But instead of breaking me, it ignited a fierce determination within. I dove back into my work with renewed intensity, driven to prove, not just to my family but to myself, that I was on the right path. Life, however, has a way of throwing curveballs, and mine came during my final year of college in the form of a devastating phone call. It was Aunt Clara, my mom's sister, her voice trembling and strained. "Jenny, it's about your Grandma Rose," she said, her words cracking with emotion. She passed away last night." The world seemed to tilt beneath me, the ground slipping away. Grandma Rose had been my rock, the one person who believed in my dreams without reservation. Losing her felt like losing a vital piece of myself, a wound that cut deeper than words could express. The funeral was a somber affair, heavy with grief. My family was there, all stiff and formal, their faces like those of strangers. Dad, Mom, and Mike stood apart, their presence cold and distant. After the service, I overheard Mom talking to Aunt Clara, her voice low but dripping with disdain. "I still can't believe she left that house to Jenny. What's she going to do with it? She can barely take care of herself." I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Grandma Rose had left me her house, the one with the magical garden that had been my refuge, my inspiration. It was a final, loving gift, a testament to her unwavering belief in me, and it filled me with both gratitude and resolve. "Difference," I replied, my voice calm but edged with steel. Jake's sneer faltered for a moment, caught off guard by my confidence, but he quickly recovered, his laugh sharp and grating. "Landscape designer, huh? Still sounds like playing in the mud to me," he taunted, his friends chuckling behind him. Their words were meant to wound, to drag me back to the insecure girl I once was, but I was no longer that person. I had grown roots deep and strong, nourished by Grandma Rose's belief in me and my own hard-won self-assurance. "Thanks for the input, Jake," I said, my tone cool and dismissive. "Enjoy the wedding." I turned away, refusing to give them the satisfaction of a reaction, and focused on the flickering candlelight at my table, letting their laughter fade into the background. I felt a surge of anger flare within me, hot and fierce, but I bit my tongue, swallowing the retort that threatened to spill out. A confrontation here, in the midst of Grandma Rose's funeral, would be disrespectful to her memory. I held my silence, letting the moment pass like a storm cloud drifting across the sky. A few days later, the reading of Grandma Rose's will brought a fresh wave of tension. She had left me her house, the enchanting haven with its sprawling, vibrant garden where I had spent countless hours learning, dreaming, and finding myself. My family was stunned, their sharp whispers cutting through the room like thorns. "Why would she leave it to Jenny? She's never around anyway," Mike muttered under his breath, his voice dripping with resentment. Dad's face darkened, a thundercloud ready to burst. "This is ridiculous," he growled. "That house could have been sold, the money put into the restaurant." His words were heavy with frustration, as if my inheritance was a personal affront to his ambitions. I stood, my heart pounding but my voice steady and resolute. "Grandma knew I loved that house, that garden," I said, meeting their gazes without flinching. "It was where we spent so much time together, where she taught me to see the beauty in the earth. I'm going to keep it, just as she wanted." Mom's response was icy, her words slicing through the air. "So, you're just going to live there alone, playing in the dirt? What a waste." Her disapproval stung, but I had made my decision, and no amount of scorn could sway me. Their words lingered like a bitter aftertaste, but I refused to let them take root. I moved into Grandma Rose's house, immersing myself in the garden she had cherished so deeply. With every spade of soil, every carefully planted flower, I poured my heart into renovating the place. The garden became my sanctuary, a living tapestry of color and life that reflected my passion and resilience. Over the months, I transformed it into something truly extraordinary, a testament to Grandma Rose's legacy and my own determination to thrive despite my family's judgment. The day the invitation to Mike's wedding arrived felt like a collision of past and present. The elegant card, with its golden letters gleaming against a crisp white background, was a tangible reminder of the life I had left behind. Staring at it, I felt a storm of emotions churn within me: nostalgia, apprehension, and a flicker of hope. After much deliberation, I decided to attend, but on my own terms. I chose an outfit that felt authentic to me, elegant yet understated, a far cry from the dirt-stained clothes my family associated with me. Stepping into the restaurant, I was enveloped by the familiar sights and sounds of my past life: the clink of glasses, the hum of conversation, the rich aroma of Dad's signature dishes. Across the room, I spotted my family: Mom, Dad, and Mike, all dressed in their finest, looking like the picture-perfect unit they so desperately wanted to project. Bracing myself, I approached, my heart thudding in my chest. "Jenny, I didn't think you'd accept the invitation," Mom said, her voice sharp and cutting through the festive noise like a blade. "I came to see Mike get married," I replied, striving to keep my tone even. "It's a family event, isn't it?" Mike glanced at me, his familiar smirk curling his lips. "What's the matter? Ran out of bushes to trim? Decided to play dress-up for a change." His words were a jab, meant to belittle, but I brushed them off, refusing to let him rattle me. "I'm just here to wish you well, Mike," I said, my voice steady despite the sting of his mockery. It was then that his bride, a tall woman with a haughty demeanor and eyes that gleamed with condescension, chimed in. "Oh, this must be the infamous Gardner sister," she said, her voice dripping with mockery. "Did you manage to scrub the dirt from under your nails, dear? Or is that just your natural look now?" Her words hung in the air, sharp and cruel, designed to humiliate. I clenched my jaw, refusing to let her see the hurt her words caused. "I clean up just fine. Thanks for asking," I replied, my tone cool and composed. "Congratulations to you both." Dad's eyes were cold, his voice even colder. "Your being here doesn't erase the past, Jenny. You chose your path." His words were like thorns, pricking at the wounds I had worked so hard to heal. "I'm not here to rehash old arguments," I said, holding his gaze. "I just wanted to wish Mike a happy married life." With that, I was quickly ushered to a small table in the corner, far from the family's prominent place at the center of the celebration. Sitting there, I could feel the curious stares and hushed whispers of the other guests. "That's the gardener," they murmured, their voices tinged with pity or disdain. "The black sheep of the family." But as I sat there, a quiet sense of pride welled up within me. Yes, I was the gardener, the one who had dared to forge her own path, who had chosen passion over conformity. I was no longer the shy, uncertain girl they remembered. I was a woman who had found her strength, who had bloomed in the face of adversity. My discomfort grew as the evening wore on, the weight of my family's rejection pressing down on me. Sipping my drink, I tried to make myself invisible, blending into the shadows of the dimly lit corner. But that plan crumbled when I caught the eye of a group of guys I recognized from childhood, Mike's friends, the same ones who had once joined him in mocking me. Jake, the ringleader, approached with a sneer plastered across his face, his strides confident and predatory. "Look who's here, the family's little dirt digger," he jeered, his voice loud enough to draw attention. His friends snickered, feeding off his bravado. I took a deep breath, steeling myself against the familiar taunts. "Actually, it's landscape designer," I corrected, my voice calm but laced with an edge of defiance. "But I wouldn't expect you to understand the difference." Jake's sneer wavered for a moment, his confidence shaken by my unflinching response. But he quickly rallied, his laugh sharp and grating. "Landscape designer, huh? Still sounds like playing in the mud to me," he taunted, his friends chuckling in the background, their laughter a chorus of cruelty. I met his gaze, my eyes steady and unyielding. "Thanks for the input, Jake," I said, my tone dripping with cool dismissal. "Enjoy the wedding." Turning away, I focused on the soft glow of the candle on my table, letting their mocking laughter fade into the hum of the celebration. Their words could no longer touch me, not when I knew who I was and what I was capable of. Unflinching, my voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "I'm saying what I've held back for years, Mom," I replied, my words clear and deliberate. "I've spent my life being mocked and dismissed by this family for choosing a path that makes me happy. Tonight, I'm done shrinking to fit your expectations." The room remained hushed, the tension palpable, as if the air itself held its breath. My family's faces burned with a mixture of shame and outrage, but I felt a strange calm settle over me. For the first time, I was speaking my truth without fear, and it was liberating. Their laughter was harsh, grating against my nerves like sandpaper. "Oh, listen to her, acting all high and mighty now," Chris, another of Mike's friends, scoffed, his voice thick with derision. I bit back a sharp retort, my hands clenching beneath the table until my knuckles whitened. "I've worked hard for my success," I said, my voice low but firm. "My job is more than just playing in the dirt. It's creating beauty, shaping spaces that bring people joy." Their amusement was abruptly silenced when an elderly man at the next table interjected. He had been quietly listening, his weathered face growing increasingly disapproving as their taunts continued. "I've seen this young lady's work," he said, his voice steady and authoritative. "The new park downtown? That's hers. It's outstanding. Shows how little you lot know." The group froze, their smug expressions faltering like a house of cards in a gust of wind. Muttering awkwardly under their breath, they slunk away, their egos visibly bruised. Emboldened by the stranger's defense, I decided to step out from the safety of my corner. Weaving through the crowd, I dodged curious glances and hushed whispers, each one a reminder of my outsider status in this world of my family's making. As I moved, I overheard Mike's voice, sharp and dismissive, speaking to a cluster of his friends. "She's always been the odd one," he said, his tone laced with a mix of amusement and disdain. "More into her plants than real work." His friend let out a loud, braying laugh. "Every family's got its black sheep, huh?" Their words hit like a slap, raw and stinging, rekindling the pain of years spent on the fringes of my family's approval. I turned away, my heart pounding in my chest, and silently reminded myself that their opinions didn't define me. I was more than their mockery, more than the gardener they sneered at. As I navigated the crowd, I bumped into my cousin Lucy, a quiet, steady presence amidst our boisterous family. Her warm brown eyes met mine, and a genuine smile spread across her face. "Hey, Jenny," she said softly. "I've seen some of your designs online. They're really something." Her sincerity caught me off guard, and I managed a small, grateful smile. "Thanks, Lucy. That means a lot, especially today." Lucy's expression softened, her eyes filled with understanding. "I never agreed with how they treated you," she admitted, her voice low but firm. "You're doing amazing things, Jenny. I'm glad you stuck to your path." Her words were a balm, a small but precious comfort amidst the thorns of the evening. We chatted briefly, her presence a momentary respite from the tension that clung to me like a second skin. As Lucy drifted back into the crowd, I returned to my corner, the weight of the evening settling heavily on my shoulders. The lively music, the clinking of glasses, and the bursts of laughter around me felt like they belonged to a different world, one where I was still an outsider. I sat there, sipping my drink, longing for the celebration to end, the glittering facade of the wedding overshadowed by the tangled knot of emotions within me. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any more surreal, the mayor, a distant relative of Mike's bride, took the stage for his speech, his presence commanding the room's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's a delight to be here," he began, his voice booming across the crowded venue, rich with warmth. "But tonight, I want to highlight a special guest among us, a true star in the world of landscape design, Jenny." Hearing my name, I nearly choked on my drink, my heart lurching in my chest. Hesitantly, I stood, feeling like a deer caught in headlights, the weight of every eye in the room pinning me in place. The mayor beamed at me, his smile genuine and encouraging. "Jenny here is the brilliant mind behind the transformation of our city park," he continued. "She's a celebrated landscape designer who's won multiple awards for her incredible work. Let's give her the recognition she deserves." The room erupted into applause, a resounding wave of sound that felt foreign and overwhelming. I glanced at my family's table and saw their faces, Mom, Dad, Mike, and his bride, etched with a mix of shock and embarrassment. Mike's bride leaned toward him, her voice sharp with disbelief. "Is he talking about your sister? The gardener?" Mike mumbled something inaudible, his face flushed, looking as though he wished the floor would swallow him whole. The mayor's praise continued, each word a beacon of validation. "Jenny's work has revitalized our city," he said. "She's a true talent, and we're lucky to have her." Amidst the clapping, a surge of confidence welled up within me, bright and unyielding. The mayor's words were like sunlight breaking through a storm, dispelling the shadows of doubt and scorn that my family had cast over me for so long. Seizing the moment, I stepped forward, my heart racing but my resolve firm. "Thank you, Mayor, for your kind words," I said, my voice carrying across the room with a clarity that surprised even me. "It's an honor to contribute to our city's beauty." I paused, my gaze sweeping over the crowd before settling on my family, their expressions a mix of discomfort and defiance. "It's funny, isn't it, how life turns out? Mike, you and your bride are perfect for each other. Your shared talent for rudeness to others is truly remarkable." The room fell silent, the air thick with tension, as if time itself had paused. My parents, my brother, and his bride flushed a deep crimson, their shame as visible as if I had struck them. Mom's voice cut through the stillness, sharp as a blade. "Jenny, what are you saying? This is your brother's wedding." I met her gaze, unflinching, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions within me. "I'm saying what I've held back for years, Mom," I replied, each word deliberate and weighted with years of suppressed frustration. "I've spent my life being mocked, dismissed, and belittled by this family for choosing a path that brings me joy. Tonight, I'm done shrinking to fit your expectations. I'm proud of who I am and what I've built." The silence that followed was deafening, the weight of my words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. My family's faces were a tableau of shock, anger, and humiliation, but I felt an unshakable calm settle over me. For the first time, I had spoken my truth without fear, and it was a liberation I hadn't known I needed. I met Mom's gaze, unflinching, my voice resonant with years of unspoken truth. "I'm just speaking the truth, Mom. Something our family seems to struggle with," I said, each word deliberate, cutting through the haze of pretense that had long clouded our interactions. Mike shot to his feet, his face flushed a deep scarlet, his eyes blazing with indignation. "You can't come here and talk to us like that," he barked, his voice trembling with anger, as if my words had struck a nerve he couldn't ignore. I held my ground, my stance firm, my voice steady as steel. I've earned my right to speak, Mike, I replied, my gaze locking onto his. Maybe it's time you all listened. The confrontation hung in the air like a charged storm, but Mike, defeated, sank back into his seat, his bravado crumbling under the weight of my resolve. The room slowly buzzed back to life, conversations resuming in hushed tones as the tension dissipated. The mayor caught my eye, offering a subtle nod of respect before continuing with his speech, his gesture a quiet acknowledgement of my courage. As I returned to my seat, the weight of the night lifted ever so slightly. I had spoken my truth, stood up for myself in a way I never had before. I was no longer just the gardener, or the family outcast. I was Jenny, a recognized landscape designer, a woman who had transcended her family's narrow expectations and carved her own path through sheer determination. In the weeks following Mike's wedding, word of my success as a landscape designer spread like wildfire. The awards I had won, the projects I had masterfully executed, people were buzzing about them, their praise a stark contrast to the years I had spent in the shadows of my family's disapproval. It felt like stepping into a warm beam of sunlight after a lifetime cloaked in darkness, my achievements finally illuminated for the world to see. Then, predictably, my family came calling. One crisp afternoon, as I sat in my garden sketching a new design, my phone rang, its shrill tones slicing through the tranquility. It was Mom, her voice dripping with a saccharine sweetness that felt jarringly out of place. "Jenny, darling," she cooed, "we've been hearing so much about your work. Your father and I are so proud of you." I raised an eyebrow, skepticism curling my lips. "Really? That's a change of tune," I said, my tone dry, laced with the memory of their scorn. There was a pause on the line, a hesitation that spoke volumes. "Well, we were thinking," she continued, her voice carefully measured. "Maybe you could come over. We'd love to see you, catch up on things." I could almost hear the gears turning in her head, her words a thinly veiled attempt at manipulation. "Catch up or catch on to my bank account?" I shot back, my voice sharp, cutting through her facade like a blade. Mom's voice faltered, a crack in her polished veneer. "Jenny, that's not fair. We're family." The word family struck a raw nerve, igniting a spark of anger within me. "Family?" I echoed, my voice rising with the weight of years of hurt. "Like when you all but disown me for following my dreams. Seems like family only matters when there's money in the picture." Before she could muster a response, I ended the call, my heart pounding but my resolve unshaken. I wasn't about to let them slink back into my life just because they sniff success, their sudden interest as hollow as their past affection. A few days later, there was a tentative knock at my door. I opened it to find Mike standing on my porch, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, his eyes darting everywhere but at me. "Hey, Jenny," he mumbled, his voice barely audible. "Can we talk?" I crossed my arms, leaning against the doorframe, my expression guarded. This should be good.
"What do you want, Mike?"
He shifted uncomfortably, his usual swagger replaced by an awkward hesitance. "Look, I know we haven't been great," he admitted, his words stumbling out. "But you're doing well, and I was wondering if you could, help me out a bit." I stared at him, incredulity washing over me like a cold wave. "Help you out?" I repeated, my voice thick with disbelief. "After years of calling me the gardener, laughing at my ambitions, you think you can just show up and ask for a handout?" Mike's face reddened, his discomfort palpable. "I didn't mean it like that," he stammered. "It's just things are tough and—" I cut him off, my voice firm, unyielding. "Save it, Mike.
I'm not your hating.
You and the family made it crystal clear how you felt about me. You can't just waltz back into my life when it's convenient." He opened his mouth to argue, but I raised a hand, stopping him cold. "No, Mike. You made your bed. Now lie in it." After he left, his shoulders slumped in defeat, I retreated to my garden, the vibrant blooms and lush greenery a testament to the life I had built. My phone rang a few more times over the next week, more attempts at reconciliation from my family, their voices laced with false warmth. I let each call go to voicemail, unwilling to entertain their fair-weather affection. I was done with their opportunism, their greed cloaked in the guise of family ties. Sitting in my garden, surrounded by the beauty I had cultivated, I felt a profound sense of peace. I had built a life that didn't need their validation or approval. I was thriving, successful, fulfilled, and free from the toxic bonds that had once held me back. They had chosen their path, rooted in control and conformity, and I had chosen mine, grounded in passion and authenticity. As I looked around the plants and flowers, each one a living testament to my hard work and unwavering dedication, I realized I had everything I needed right here. I was happy, not because of their recognition, but in spite of their rejection. This wasn't just the end of a chapter. It was the beginning of a whole new book, one I was writing on my own terms, in my own style. The new growth in my life was just beginning, its roots deep and its branches reaching toward endless possibilities. I was ready for whatever came next, confident that my story would be a bestseller, crafted with the courage and creativity that had brought me this far. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribe for more.